How you doing, everybody? My name is Michael Zapsik. I'm from AMC's Comic Book Man, and you're listening to iWalter.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain. It's a plane. It's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey everyone, this is Walter from iWalter. I actually did not plan to do a show tonight. Yes, I got my voice back even more so tonight. I'm taking the penicillin or amoxicillin. It's the generic version. But I had some pretty upset news today, and it got more disturbing when I had mentioned to a friend, and he goofed on it, and actually at first on Facebook with me, and then just totally ignored it tonight. So I got to tell you about that. It is Thursday morning now. It's actually going on 3 o'clock. But, my whole purpose for setting up this show, at first I had no clue, what I was going to do for format for a radio show. Not necessarily a radio show, but a podcast. So, it basically evolved into, for me, okay, I got some levels. It evolved in, for me, just like a form of therapy, because I try to talk to people, and it's one-sided. Like, people don't want to hear anything, and the responses I get most of the time. Now, I have, I'll have to say the people that I can consider, real friends at this point, and I hate to say this, and if they hear this, I'm being totally sincere, honestly, are, a guy at work that I talk to, he's buys stuff off me once in a while, like some of my old computer equipment and all, which he wants to buy I'm trying to think. He wants to buy one of this thing called a Surface Pro I bought a couple years ago. It's hard to believe. It's like 2 years ago. I don't even use it. It's my only Windows computer up to this point until I got this Star Wars one, the limited edition Star Wars one, which I'm using now for doing podcasts. Now, that one I like a lot better. It's just easier to use in general. It's a piece of shit. It's an HP, but it works well. But this guy, his name's John. I'm going to leave it at that. And I consider him a friend. I can, we think the same way on as far as politics go and stuff like that. I mean, everybody has their rocks in their relationships, but for the most part, he at least communicates with me and he talks to me like a human being. And two other people I can actually mention, and it's kind of funny, are the two people that are actually retraining me at my job. I consider those people friends too. I mean, at least they treat me like a human being. They don't treat me, they don't play any games. They don't treat me like a piece of shit. And it's appreciated, trust me. Excuse me already. So I'm saying this because I even mentioned to one of the, I consider them almost like I don't know what they think of me because I'm sure, stories go around about me at my job of how I'm an asshole or something like that. But, again, people don't really know me. But for the most part, they're on the up and up. I respect somebody who treats me and doesn't play games or doesn't fuck with me. Like, people I call my friends or I think are my friends. So, and I have it hard enough. I mean, I live at home still, yes. But I have it hard enough. I have a hard time communicating with people in general. I've always had this problem. And I definitely have a problem, with my parents always eavesdropping on everything I want to do. And if I listen to my radio show, like if I do this one tonight and I listen to it tomorrow, I guarantee you that they're going to hover around my bathroom door or my bedroom door. Just we were just, taking out like our garage is right next to we have a bi-level, I think it's called. And I have, I've had this room for like 20 years. It used to be my brother's room. I had a different room before in the house. And, they'll come around just to eavesdrop because there's a garage door next to my bedroom and my bathroom. It's like a separate flat. They actually wanted to put a separate door in, because I give them board and stuff like that, money, not being bored, but board money. And, they came to, came to the realization or whatever. I don't want to say realization. They feel comfortable with me, more comfortable with me being at home. So, and I feel, because I don't want to move out on my own and have, I have no one to communicate with. I would be like a corpse that would have decayed for weeks before anybody would come by, and that's happened to people before. I'd be one of those people that my body, the only reason they would know that something happened to me is because they would smell the stench after my body decomposed for a couple of weeks. Actually, I would say a couple of months, probably close to a year, because nobody gives a shit. That's why I don't want to move out. At least I have somebody at home, even though they drive me, up and down the walls, my parents, of them eavesdropping and trying to figure out what I'm trying to say, or if I'm on the phone, or I listen to voicemails, they listen in. Like, they literally almost have like a glass at the door. And it drives me insane. But if anything ever happens to me or anything happens to them, we're basically an arm's length of each other. So there's, you got to take, I guess they say you got to take the good with the bad. There's plenty of bad. When I was off for 6 months, imagine if I was, bad enough that I'd have to pay higher rent, more than just like money for board, but high rent. That would be a big problem. But the other problem is, because I know my one friend, he's had problems. He's lived on his own, and when you live by yourself, you have no one to talk to. It's nice to a point, but human beings need social contact, period. And I don't get any, other than these 3 people, I get really no contact. Like, people just brush me off until they need a favor. And at home, it's the same deal, minus my parents. They go out of their way to help me out. I'm going to mention that. I do appreciate that. But for the most part, people just, their whole intention is how can they use me. Like, I'm no better than a pair of shoes or a piece of clothing. I'm not even a human being. I'm just a piece of material that you can treat like shit. And it was funny because the woman I work with, I love her dearly, the one who's been helping me out. Both of these people that help me out. I'm not going to just say her, but she really has been a big influence. She even said that. She said, yeah, because we were talking about family members, and she said, yeah, hey, if my family doesn't want to bother with me until something happens to me, like if she passes away, God forbid, that they're going to be around to collect their inheritance, whatever she would leave behind for them. She's not going to leave anything for them. If you can't treat me with respect while I'm alive, why should I give you the decency of giving everything away to you? That's basically what she said. And it's like, you know what? I can relate to that 100% because I deal with that. People could care less about me until something would happen to me, and then they're going to be out for handouts. And I don't deal with that very well. I don't deal with that well at all. So, okay, I'm pulling up some of this stuff that really just kind of insulted me tonight. So I'm getting prepped for that. But what happened today, I woke up around 1 o'clock because I did this show. I didn't get it done, and masturbating and stuff like that. But seriously, well, I actually was being serious. What am I saying? But, wow, they had PlayStation had their time for the getting Doom, what do you call it? Add to cart, free. Add to cart. Sorry about that. They have a demo out for PS4 for Doom. So anyway, I have an attention span. Children laugh at me. People with disabilities kind of laugh at me too. It's like, God, we thought we had it bad. We see Walter. We really have nothing on top of him. But I got some bad news today. This is no joke. This was the God's honest truth. I'm not making this up. Okay, waiting. It's going to start up my PS4. I didn't even know that. They have a Doom. I got to see that. I actually got this game called Zombie for free. I was going to pay for it because I got it for when I had the Xbox. I got this game called Zombie. It was originally for the GameCube, or not GameCube, the other one, the Nintendo's newest system. Maybe it was the GameCube, but I can't remember. But I was going to get it for it. I never got a Nintendo system. The last one, I mean. So there was a game they made for exclusively called Zombie with an I, no E on the end. And it was like, yeah, this looks really cool, but I'm not going to go buy a console just for one freaking game. I've just kind of done that before. So who am I kidding? But wow. So anyway, see, I can't keep my mind. I'm just so mad, by the way. But I woke up today, got up around 1 because this show had taken me a while to, not actually to put together, but it was just, it did take a while. So I got up today, though, and lo and behold, my parents, well, my mother, my dad was on the phone most of the day because he was all upset, and they were fighting amongst each other, my mom and my dad. My dad's upset again how my mom just accumulates these bills, and she, gets herself in a lot of debt, and he's constantly getting her out of it. Not that I'm any better. So anyway, what was I going to say? My mom tells me that my niece, my oldest brother's youngest kid, his daughter, she's in college now, she got hit by a car yesterday. Not yesterday, the day before. She got, literally at nighttime. She was she lives down in North Carolina. Now, let me set the record straight. I don't communicate. I tried to in the past. My parents definitely tried. I tried a bit to communicate with my brothers. And, hey, my brothers do listen to this, so no offense. I'm just speaking my mind. If they may listen in, because once in a while they do. Which I do appreciate when they do. Don't get me wrong. But they really don't give two shits about me. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I understand they have their issues with my parents. My parents are not the most, easiest people to get along with. Neither one of them are. And I'll admit to that. And I think no offense, but I think my brothers think that personally. They think that, my parents, which was true, had to spend so much time with me because I have my issues that, people like to think, well, you can handle your problems, but nobody else seems to be able to handle their problems. I should be able to control my problems, my issues, my mental illness. It should be something I just should be able to snap my fingers and everything will be okay. But when other people act not mature, like total assholes, well, they can't help it. Hey, they're a victim of circumstance all of a sudden. I'm not saying this about my brothers, but I am referring to friends and people I know in real life. So, not going to beat around the bush. I'm just telling you the truth. Just because they can't handle their issues, I should be right on the ball. I mean, I should be able to snap my fingers and my mental illness should just go away, or I should just be doped up on medication. That's bullshit. So I'm so sick and tired of hearing all that crap. Better how I should be treated, diagnosed, or I should just be able to grow up by snapping my finger and everything will be all right. Just because everybody else are total fuck-ups, that's not their fault. That's my fault. I should be able to handle their problems and my problems. And I should just mind my own business, even though everybody else is minding my business and tell me how I should act and what I should do. So, even though it's a double standard, it's not a double standard. So it just makes me over and over again, just wants me to, seriously just bang my head because nobody not only cares about anything else except themselves. I mean, to a point that this was honestly, this was a straw that broke the camel's back tonight. I have a friend and I normally won't mention him. I'm sure my friend Matt. I try to keep an open mind with everybody. You know, and I'm probably just a glutton for abuse. But I reached out because I didn't finish my story. I apologize about that. But my parents got a call from my oldest brother. Now, they're the ones, too, I hate to say it, but it seems like my one brother, I have to, in his defense, my oldest brother, he does call and he talks to my dad. I honestly don't have anything to say to either one of my brothers. I try to reach out to them when I can. You know, I try to be nice. You know, they're my flesh and blood, but they really have their own lives. I understand, but, you know, I have other people I know, they talk to their relatives. They keep in contact with me. They don't give two shits about. I mean, seriously. Maybe that's that's on you, Walter. That's not me. Well, I don't have anyone. I seriously have absolutely no one. Minus my overprotective parents who just basically follow me around just to see what I'm going to say next. Amongst other people who don't give two shits about me unless I'm talking about them. Then all of a sudden their ears perk up because they have something negative to tell me that I shouldn't be talking about. And it's like, well, you don't care about me. I mean, I could have, seriously, because this happened now, because I still haven't mentioned it, my niece got ran over by a car. She actually got thrown after getting hit by a car. So, I mean, that is extremely serious. I'm sorry. That is really serious. That's not a laughing matter. You don't make jokes about shit like that. She was hit and thrown and knocked out. She was unconscious, my niece. Now, what I was ready to say, though, I really try to reach out to my nieces and nephews. They don't care. They never did. My brother doesn't really care. His wife, no offense, doesn't really give two shits about us. Back in the past, I had a little bit of communication with them, but I really don't. Neither one of my brothers or their wives don't care about my family, my parents, you know, their parents, or me, myself. And it was, the irony was, when my grandmother was alive, on my mother's side, my parents, my dad's side, his parents, my grandparents on my dad's side, have been dead for years. Probably since I was a teenager is the last time. Now, the last one to pass away was my mother's mother, my grandmother on my mother's side. But they were real chummy with her. They were chummy with all the relatives on my mom's side. Us, we don't even exist. We are non-existent. We don't even, you know, we're not even in the same universe. So we're treated like pieces of shit. Now, even my parents, when my one brother's wife, she lost both her parents now, we went out of our way to go and pay our respects. I paid my respects when my neighbor next door passed away from cancer. Actually, was it cancer? I don't think it was, actually. I think it was same thing my mom has. You know, it was related to diabetes, which my mother has. So I go out of my way to treat people with respect, even the ones who treat me like total pieces of shit. You know, I'm not going to bend down to their level of stupidity or just ignorance or just being, you know, plain and simple, just an asshole. I'm not going to bend down to, or, you know, buckle down to that level. But apparently it's all right for others, though, to do that to you. That's absolutely okay. And I should be totally understanding about that. So this is going to lead somewhere. And, yeah, again, my nieces and nephews, they don't really care about me. And in fact, trust me, I'll never forget that, and I will mention it someday. If, God forbid, if something happens to my parents, and, you know, when push comes to shove, one thing I'm not going to go, it better be, I'll make sure of this. It's going to be, you know, one of these deals that's going to be just immediate family that's going to be able to go to, heaven forbid, when that day has to happen with a funeral of my parents, that we're going to go to. And there's going to be one without me that I'm not going to attend, and I'm not going to stand and just pretend that these people who had spent their whole entire life just totally ignoring me and thinking that I'm my own relatives who think that I'm a whack job. I'm not going to be in the same room with them and my deceased parents when that ever would happen, which I'm not going to even think about. That's just plain and simple. I had my mind made up years ago about doing that, and I'm sticking to my guns. And that's including my brother's kids. There is no way I'm going to be in the same room with them. I'm sorry. If you don't like it, hey, that's too bad, because I'm not going to be in that same room. I basically just put my foot down right there. So that's how much they don't respect me. I'm not going to respect them. One time, because my brother's youngest kid, his daughter, they came in the room and they seen that I collect action figures, dolls, and stuff like that. I've been doing it for years. It's just a hobby for me. And she got freaked out by it. She literally did. She walked in the room and she just walked out of the house. Didn't say a fucking word. So, and these are the same people probably who wear their heart on their sleeve and want to make a difference and want to see change. Well, my own relatives literally treat me like a piece of shit. My own flesh and blood. I mean, in some way, they are made up of the same flesh and blood I am. So the bottom line is, though, I don't have to deal with that shit. You're in my house. You treat me like a piece of garbage, and then I'm supposed to respect you. So that's how much respect. I hate to tell you if my brothers listen to this. This is how much respect, because they don't have any respect for me. They have a lot of disrespect for me, my nieces and nephews, and my brothers. But I don't forget that stuff. I got that stuff in my head like a steel fucking trap, and I won't forget that. But as much as I'm saying that right now, I hate to say it, but there is that one thing, though, that it's like, okay, this might be something I'm not going to stoop to anybody else's level kind of deal. And that would be, that is, I don't like my niece, no offense. She doesn't like me. She doesn't want to be bothered by me. I actually, more than once, I reached out because I know, I like some of these kids' concerts. I just like them because they're fun to go to. And they're more entertaining than some of these riffraff that we call adults anymore. That think they know how to sing, which they really don't. And I get ridiculed about that all the time. But the bottom line is, though, I actually offer, because I want to Taylor Swift and some other things that I offered, and my brother was up here with his daughter. I said, listen, hey, if she wants to go with me, she can go with her uncle. I'll even buy her a ticket. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I don't see my relatives. I try to be nice. I try to reach out, but no, he's the wacko uncle that I don't want to be bothered with. So you know what? Go fuck yourself. I don't care if my brother hears that or not. But you really just don't respect me, and I'm not going to respect you at all. And, I'm not going to be, like I said, in the same room with you. I had to, because there was no way I could, pay my respect without you being in the room when your other grandparents passed away. But when your grandparents that are my parents pass away, I don't want to be in the same place with you. That's the bottom line. And I will say it, too. I won't hold back. I have no reason, I don't care. That's one thing you definitely don't want to be in the same room with me, because I will make a scene. Bottom line. Just let you know. So, but the point is, that's how much I'm just trying to build a picture in people's mind how much I don't respect my relatives. No offense. I just don't respect them. They don't respect me. I don't respect them. I don't care who you are, but you treat me like, I'm not existent. I deal with it at work. And it's definitely going to come to the time, because people have pushed me that far that I'm going to blow up and I am going to give a piece of my mind. And usually when it gets to that point, you don't want to be around, because I'm very dangerous at that point, let you know. But it's something that you just keep on pushing buttons. Eventually it's going to come home. and you're gonna be in for a rude awakening. So, but out of respect, as much as I disrespect my nieces and nephews, because honestly, they don't care about me. They don't reach out for me. I tried it to them. Well, they were so young, they didn't know any better. That's bullshit. I'm sorry. They're grown adults now. I am sorry. But that's not the point. I just want you to let you know that. But I reached out to one friend out of the people I thought were my friends, and I left a lot of messages because I was really upset still because it got my parents upset. They upset my parents. That upsets me. I don't care about them, but it upset my parents. So my parents were fighting amongst each other. My mother is on my side. I'm on her side with this one issue. She basically said to me, they never want to reach out to us. They meaning the my niece, my mom's granddaughter. She doesn't want to be bothered. She made it very apparent. They send her money all the time and the grandkids, and honestly, they never respond back. They really don't respect us at all. And we're their living relatives. So, and like I said, I have no respect for them at all. I really do not have any respect. Because they treat me like a total piece of shit. And they just totally ignore me, and even my own home, I felt like I was ostracized. In my own fucking home. So, what am I supposed to do? Kiss their ass? No, I don't have to kiss their ass. I don't have to kiss anyone's ass. So, like Howard Stern said years ago, people like that, in many ways, I hate to say it, but, he said this years ago, somebody disrespected him. Those people were written off. They were dead. They were, he went to their funeral. They no longer exist in his universe. And if he ever sees them, he doesn't have a problem not talking to them because they already were written off. He went to their funeral. They were already dead. And that's the same way I feel. But this was something definitely different today. And the reason it was, though, was because, again, my parents were fighting about this. Literally, they woke me up because I went to bed so late. They woke me up today because they were arguing. It was basically about bills. It's always got to be about money. And the other reason was because of my niece getting ran over by a car. She literally got ran over. So I asked my mom tonight. She said not only did she get run over, but she got thrown from the guy who hit her. It was on a college campus down in North Carolina. And she got thrown so hard she was unconscious for hours. I mean, she was in a concussion. So that's really serious. Again, I have no respect for her, but at the same time, I'm not a total douchebag. So you expect somebody who, one friend in particular, who said he wears his heart on his sleeve, to have some type of respect for at least me and my parents, which he had neither of those. He had no respect for me, and he definitely had no respect for my parents. And that's what made me want to do this show tonight. And, I mean, it honestly is really shocking that, somebody could be that much of an asshole. I'm sorry, but that's basically what I look at. And that really got me upset tonight. So it's bad enough I have a niece and that I really have no respect for. But, again, it definitely upset my parents, so I have to talk about it. I have to discuss it with my parents. I don't want to talk about it with my parents, but, sorry, I'm itching my nose. I have no choice. They're arguing back and forth about this one granddaughter they have who does really expects, like, basically, as the one guy at work always says, that they have this sense of entitlement, like she's entitled to everything because my brother spoiled the shit out of her. I mean, come on, let's face it. He spoiled the crap out of her. She gets everything she ever wanted. And now she, physically got her chip knocked off her shoulder, but actually it was her leg. She actually had to go into, this is what's even sadder, She had to go to the surgery today. She had to get surgery done on her leg because she not only was put in a concussion, but it was serious. I mean, she could have got killed. Probably the only thing that honestly saved her was her age. Probably, I would assume, I don't even know how old she is. Educated guess, because my oldest brother's like late 40s. She's got to be at least 19, and she's the baby. He's got 3 other sons. So I would say she's got to be at least 19 if she's in college. So, you know, I'm trying to calm my parents down. That upsets me when my parents are upset. I'm having my own issues going on. My parents are upset. My mother has a serious problem where she almost lost her feet because they were infected so severely that when I try to talk about that, I got the cold shoulder, no response. Can I borrow this off you response? Or, you know, I really don't care. You know, they don't say it directly, but they definitely say it indirectly. You know, you don't care that my mother might get her feet amputated. That's not as important as I need to borrow this from you. Or, well, I'm going to a concert this weekend. I mean, that's so much more important than my mother getting her feet amputated or she, you know, would end up in a hospital. So, yeah, that's bad enough. But then it gets even worse. I mean, again, I'm openly admitting I don't like this niece of mine, but I'm not that much of a douchebag that I'm going to say, listen, hey, she did get hit by a car and it's upset my parents a lot. You know, I got to show some type of sympathy. I got to be a little bit of a human being for a split second, as much as it's going to kill me to do it with her. So, especially, like I said before, because it really, really upset my parents. Both of them. In different ways, but it upset my parents. So, basically, what was I going to say? You know, they were discussing this. My mother's upset because they don't ever respond when she gives them phone calls, physically gives them money. All my brother ever does is tells them, like, oh, this is how you should give them the money. Don't give them a check, give them cash. Or you know, some other stupid story like my brother comes up with how to disperse money to his kids. Not that, oh, well, thank you for, you know, it's the thought that counts. And once they receive the money, you don't either hear anything, or if you're lucky, you may hear something, but most of the time you don't hear anything. It's like, again, it's that sense of entitlement. Or, well, you never bothered with us before. Well, that's in the past. You know, you got to change the future. You can't live in the past, but they don't want to. They're just going to cling to that. Just like other people I know, they cling to shit from like 30 years ago that happened to them that makes them still, in an indirect way, really bitter with me. They won't let it go. It's like, and I know certain people with me that they have certain hang-ups with me. They're going to take it to their grave. They're going to take it to my grave. And it's like, you know what? You're going to spend your whole life killing yourself on something that you have a problem with me that you're never going to be honest with yourself or with me about. So, I mean, I deal with this shit every single day with people, and it just gets really old. But yesterday was the icing on the cake for me. I mean, I had a friend, a niece that got hit by a car. She was knocked unconscious. She was in the hospital. She almost physically, I mean, how many times have you heard, how many stories have I read where people got hit by cars and they did not survive? They were dead. She was in a coma. She was in surgery. I don't know what else it was for, as far as I know, because the stories could have got mixed up. They said, for one thing, it was to, fix her leg because it got really messed up. How do you know they didn't have to relieve pressure off the brain? That's what could have probably what my parents. I'm just guessing at this point, but I'm sure generally that's what happened when you get hit by a car. You could, if she was in a coma, obviously she could have had hemorrhaging or something else. So, I mean, I hate to tell you, this is very serious. This is not a game. So I expect a a really good response, more than, well, I'm going to a concert or talk about your own personal life. You know, hey, my parents are upset about this. My dad was really upset about it because he doesn't let, you know, if somebody he doesn't like has problems, he'll forget about it. And that's his problem too, but he'll forget about it. And he tries to, you know, be empathetic or sympathetic towards that person as much as he can't stand that person. He's got more of a heart than I do. Let me put it that way, because I'm, for the most part, more heartless than he'll ever be, because I really am, and I'm not afraid to admit that I'm heartless. But when it comes to people and that have problems, he will reach out and try to help them. That's just the way he is. He doesn't know how to show emotion, but when he's forced to, he will. So with my niece, he was really upset. It was like he called and he calmed my brother down, who was emotionally a wreck because his daughter literally almost got killed. I mean, this is not a joke. This is something you don't joke about. It's, you know, I don't know how to handle it, but obviously my dad tried to handle the situation. So I call a friend over and over again. He just totally ignores the phone calls and he wasn't even busy at his job. He said he wasn't that busy. He had time to goof off at work, and he's a supervisor. And I told him and I left him a dozen messages. It was like, you didn't get it, and he even got my text. And he kind of he gave smart-ass remarks back about text. It's like, this is not a laughing matter. You know, it's a niece I don't like. That's a no-brainer. Yeah, I don't like this niece. But she almost got killed yesterday, or, you know, something like that. She got killed almost yesterday. So the bottom line is, you don't make a joke about it. That is something that's crossing the line. This particular friend has crossed the line way too many times, but this was just like, this is a kid who literally almost got killed. I mean, come on. That's why I said everything else, by the way. This is why I made this long spiel about this other stuff. This kid almost got killed, and she's, you know, related flesh and blood-wise. She's blood-related to me. So, and again, I don't have a respect for her, but this is something, you know, you got to kind of put your differences aside. So I leave a message for a friend. I left a whole bunch of messages. And it just really pissed me off, and I try to ignore. I have a mother who was, like, really seriously ill. I mean, seriously sick. She was crying. She was in so much fucking pain. And it's like, you got to have a little bit of a heart for that. And he didn't. This one friend. And then my niece, and this is the same person, by the way, he'll tell me that he wears his heart on his sleeve. So wait until you hear the responses. I'll tell you, because he put them on my Facebook page. You can't hide them. So, you know, not to make an ass out of himself, but he made an ass out of himself by himself, not by me, but he made an ass out of himself on his own, on his very own. So I lost it now, the page. So now I gotta look for again his responses. So I apologize, but a niece that almost got killed, and again, a niece that almost got killed, and a mother who was almost seriously in the hospital. One that got killed. Most people would say, you know what, Walter, hey, you know, you're having a really hard time. I'm sorry to hear that. No, the response was not that. So let me see. I might even have to look at my text. And I normally don't do this, but this just really pissed me off. I mean, let's see. Let me look at my text first. I barely even finished my podcast, listened to him yesterday. My mother's name is Joan, too. He sent me a link. He sent me a link. Let me see. I'm going to look at him again. And this is his response to my mother and my niece almost getting killed, and my mother being, you know, terribly upset with the niece thing, or granddaughter, and the other thing. Okay, let me see. And I'm going to look up the other thing on Facebook. And my mother's name's Joan, so he wrote in a text here, this is for Joan. And he sent me a link from thinkgeek.com, Star Wars Jabba the Hutt inflatable. So I just kind of blow it off. So he's referring to my mom that she's Jabba the Hutt. So I try to just kind of laugh it off in a text. I text him back. I said, well, yeah, I wouldn't mind having the Jabba the Hutt inflatable. I just ignored his really sarcastic remark. So he texts back, that would look great on your lawn. And I made some joke. So he insults my mother again, the person who almost got her her feet amputated off. Joan can hide inside and scare them. So I just kind of blew it off again. So that was his response to my mom almost losing her feet. And a niece who almost got killed. Nothing about the niece. And then he wrote, or Dada can pop out naked from behind it. So her tell me that he's trying to make light, make humor. Well, what if I make humor of this particular person that his father's back in the hospital and he could have brain damage? And I made a joke. Well, maybe if he dies or he has brain damage, he won't know how he's really in a lot of pain. I mean, if I would even think that, like making a joke out of your parent having brain damage, when I say I had brain damage, you don't say a fucking thing, you would probably turn around and want to punch me out. What makes you think I don't want to do that to you, though? Because that was very distasteful. Sorry about that. I'm just checking my thing. Beyond distasteful. So I want to see what he put on my Facebook page, because now unfortunately, I put up a lot of goofy pictures and shit, so I got it so freaking buried, it's going to be really hard to get to. So, I mean, it's all right for him to brutally attack me all the fucking time, like say really negative things. Now, I can't find it because he did put it on, and it's not even funny. It's not a little funny. It's not remotely funny, but he literally put on my Facebook page. It was through a text, but he was insulting my mom that she needs to, she looks like Jabba the Hutt. It's like, dude, maybe if I made a comment like that, that's one thing. It'd be like I'm trying to think. I'm just going to use a random, like my friend Matt, like, oh, your mother looks like an ass monkey. Well, my friend Matt could say that about his mother, but do you think that's appropriate for me to say something negative about her mother, his mother, or his father? No, that would be really inappropriate. I would be like off, because I did that one time unintentionally to a person at work or something. Somebody I actually knew for a while, a little bit, whatever. And I was making jokes, and they were talking about their mother or something, and I said, yeah, well, and I kind of like joined in on the making the jokes about the mother thing, and she said, well, that wasn't, hey, you can't say that. And she's absolutely right. It was like, yeah, you know what? I overstepped my boundaries. It's one thing for you who lives with your parents to say something, but it's not appropriate for somebody else to make really off-the-wall, very insultive, very discolored jokes about somebody else's relatives that you don't even know. So here we go. Here he put it on my Facebook page. He sent me the picture of the inflatable Jabba the Hutt lawn ornament. So I just kind of play along with it, just pretend like I don't see it because it's very negative towards my parents. And then a niece who almost got killed. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. So this friend leaves me 2 messages, and he says, oh, yeah, I'm really tired. I haven't slept. I'm always worried about my father. He might have brain damage now. So I was like, okay, I told you about a niece, which I really have a hard time I'm having a hard time, but I have to deal with it because my parents are upset about it. And I live with my parents. So his response to my niece, just like with my mother almost getting her feet amputated off, because she had like serious infections down to the bone, which means you have to amputate the feet off. But his response to my niece almost getting killed was a flat line. There was nothing. There was zero. It was about him going to visit his father and how he's going to go a concert with his brother this weekend. That was more important than a human being getting killed. It was basically, the conversation was one-sided. And it's like, I mentioned this in the past, this really bothered me, and he does the same thing again. He says he wears his heart on his sleeve. It's like, dude, do you know where your sleeve is? Because you obviously don't, because you don't wear your heart on your sleeve. You think you do, but you're the biggest fucking hypocrite I've ever saw. And then I have another one, people ask me to borrow things or take this. It's like, I'm dealing with an emotional turmoil. I have a mother who is seriously in so much pain, so much fucking pain, that she is literally crying because she can't deal with the pain. And she's on heavy, like Oxycontin, like one step away from Oxycontin. It's not, but it's up there. It's heavy tranquilizers. She walks around like a fucking zombie. And then I have a niece, which I have a hard time dealing with, or even trying to realize that, you know, she's related to me, who almost got killed. And if I mention that, I never hear a response back, and then I hear, "What can I borrow this from you?" It'd be like me telling you, yeah, oh, your mother just died? Hey, by the way, can I just borrow this from you? You know what? I'm going to a comic book convention this weekend, so just totally ignoring, like I never said, hey, your mother just died. Now, just to give you a heads up, a normal person with real emotions, and not some asshole who would brutally attack me on this and say, well, are you talking about me? Do you mean this about me? No, I mean a human being, a real human being. When you say, my mother is very sick, you know, she's not doing that well, hey, I'm having a hard time right now. Just a heads up, you don't attack people on that. And if your family is having problems, you don't think about yourself. I mean, I know this is hard to grasp for certain people, but you don't talk about yourself. And normally, a normal person, a real human being, what they say is, well, I'm sorry to hear that your parents are having a hard time right now. And you drop it. You don't ask for, well, the world revolves around me, and the only way that things are going to get better is by me basically walking all over top of you like you're not even there. And the stuff you talk about is not fucking relevant at all. No, you know what? I hate to tell you, even though I had brain damage, I still have a brain in my head. I still have feelings. And by you just ignoring that I'm even a human being, just shows you, folks, that whoever that might be, how much of an asshole you really are. And you're not going to have friends like that. You're going to lose a person who is just, you know, has no friends. And I mean, I'm serious. I have like really no real friends. And that just proves it. I mean, if a friend is having his hand in your back pocket and taking advantage of you, if that's considered a friend, God, I got some of the best friends in the world. But I seriously, and I got the same thing. It's bad enough I got to deal with this shit at work. But dealing with people that I, you know, are supposed to be my real friends, and obviously they are not friends at all if they think that way of themselves. You know, no offense, but you really got to reevaluate what a real friend is like, because I hate to tell you, that's not considered a friend at all. An acquaintance, yeah. A friend? No, not really. So that whole thing, no offense, that really bothered me today. You know, hey, I'm doing really bad. You know, I'm not well off. I'm, you know, kind of suicidal. Well, hey, can you lend me something? And you know what? I'm having such a great day. I'm having such a hard time. You know, it's like talking through a concrete. Oh no, let me put it another way. Like a steel wall. Like I'm talking in a vacuum with a steel wall. Like, you know, hey, you know what? I feel really suicidal. Well, you know what? Today I had such a bad day, or I had a really good day. Can I borrow something, by the way? I'll give it back whenever. Yeah, my niece just got almost killed today. Hey, I'm going to see a Kiss cover band tonight. I mean, think about that for a minute. Really think about that. Think what you're saying. Well, what you're saying is not relevant. If you're not talking about anything that's relevant or to a point, you're just really wasting my time. So, yeah, that's really nice. I mean, this is true. I'm not making this stuff up. I mean, speaking as a human being, because you probably don't know what a real human being sounds like, so I'm going to let you know. A human being is a person that you reciprocate back to, and they do have emotions. I hate to tell you, I'm not a mindless automaton with no emotions. You like to think that. And you like to treat me like I'm a piece of shit with no emotions at all. But I hate to tell you, yeah, I do have emotions. I'm not some fucking retard that you can just basically walk all over and tell me what to do and tell me to shush up when you don't like what I have to say. That really pisses me off, too. The only way you keep your friends is by treating the friends you do have with respect and listening to them, too, by the way. So I haven't gotten this angry in a while, but with the shit I take up with work, minus, like I said, 3 people maybe 4, because my little friend Matt came back, so that would be 4. But the rest of the people treat me like total dog shit, and I take it up with in my real life, and it just really pisses me off. So I really needed to vent this. And for those who think, well, Walter, you got to watch what you say because you might upset somebody. Well, haven't you heard, if you did listen, I'm upset. So you gotta hear all the way through. Don't hear what you want to hear. Don't tell me what I should be thinking. You got to listen with both ears and whatever brain matter is in between those, because obviously you don't know how to do that. If you did, you wouldn't be picking on me and tell me how I don't know what I'm talking about and how I should think and feel and react to things. I am reacting, I am thinking, and I do have emotions. What part of that don't you understand? Obviously, most of it, like 99% of it. So, anyway, I will kind of glance through some stories because it's like going on 4 o'clock. I see this story, which I love reading these stories. A Limerick roars for its Spring City patch. And it's titled, Limerick Deadbeat Parents Among 10 Arrested in a Group-Owned More Than 100. And this whole group of people, it was like 10 different people, $121,000 in deadbeat parents. I always see all this stuff. A relative of one of the defendants follow the sheriff's office raid team in his truck during part of the night. So I had to step away from the mic for a minute just to get swallowed. So once again, they did a roundup on deadbeat parents, and it equaled for delinquent paying parents who had kids that just don't want to take care of them once they go through the fun of having a kid and not want to take care of them. And again, I don't see Walter in that mix of stories that, hey, Walter, you need to be more responsible. At least I don't have offspring anywhere that I know of. And trust me, I know I don't have any offspring that I'm being delinquent. Hey, if I want to be, delinquent with myself, that's one thing. But I don't basically be irresponsible and drink and get drunk and party and have kids and then say, oh, I don't have to take her. Somebody else will. No, I've never done that. I've always been totally responsible for that part. Of course, I never really had any sex, so that would probably alleviate that problem too, wouldn't it? Anyway, here's another interesting story that I had posted just before I came on, and it was from the Morning Call newspaper. And there's some place called Sharon's Day Care in Lehigh Township. There was it was basically closed down because of negligence, because it says where a 3-month-old Makina R. Fellini was found lifeless on April 1st. Excuse me, I'm throwing up. has been ordered closed for evidence of gross incompetence, negligence, and misconduct. Officials have said it was a baby's first daycare center that it actually was put in. This baby, it died in a daycare. And let me repeat myself. Due to the people that were running the place, it was closed for evidence, quote unquote, of gross incompetence, negligence, and misconduct. All which I constantly get accused of myself of just being totally irresponsible. But this is like supposed to be a professional place and now got closed down because they did not take care of the people, these kids or infants that they're supposed to take care of in this daycare. Shannon's daycare ordered closed after gross negligence in a baby's death. Shannon's daycare in Lehigh Township, where a 3-month-old Kinley R. Firmly was found dying on April 1st, has been ordered closed for evidence of gross incompetence again. So, when other people are this negligent, this incompetent, you never hear about it. All you ever hear about is how I am not making my contribution to society, even though I do every single day. Some other story I have, it says Facebook video shows Florida man, now get this, dangling the dog by its neck over a railing. They have the video on, I have it on my Facebook, but it was from local10.com. Authorities are seeking the public help and identify a man who captures on video holding a dog by its neck over a second-floor railing in an Orlando home. So he thought it was entertaining to torture a dog. They got the video on Local News 10. So you can actually watch the video where this man tortures a dog in Orlando, Florida. It says, warning, some may find certain language in the video to be objectionable. So I'm the one who got shut down on Facebook, though, by the way. I'm going to play the video right now. From some asshole who basically just constantly found no matter what I put up as offensive. And they did it deliberately because they were trying to first get me, basically, yeah, the video does show the guy is literally holding the dog by its neck, like on a chain, and dangling it. This poor dog. And I don't like dogs, trust me. I do not like dogs. And it looks like one of his pit bulls. But he's literally, he's like got the dog by a leash or whatever, and he's like swinging it over a railing. I mean, that is animal cruelty to the max. And they were thought it was funny. I mean, and I especially don't like pit bulls, but it looks like a pit bull. I mean, if I was that dog and you're mistreating that dog, you got to watch, because those dogs, any dog, any animal, any human being will attack. I mean, you're literally trying to noose the dog by its neck, and the dog's not doing anything wrong. People like that should basically be hung by their neck. No offense. So I'm looking at this, and it really upsets me. And I don't like dogs, and it upsets me. So I'm just letting you know. That's how bad it is. I mean, yeah, he's literally like suffocating the dog by strangling it, hanging it by its neck. I mean, that poor dog could have got its neck broken. So, anyway, somebody put it up. I put it on my Facebook page. I have no clue who it is. I don't know why I did it. Well, maybe I do, because it was a guy that I love on Facebook. He's a Doctor Who fan from Britain, and he names himself the Daily Dialect. And he says, rest in peace, Gareth Thomas. Best known for genre fans as basically Blake in Terry Nation's Blake 7. I remember Blake 7. I never really watched it. I'm familiar a little bit with it. I just never really watched it. He had died at age 71 of heart failure. So, I'm sorry to hear that, because I did remember. I'll have to watch Blake 7 now. Now I'm kind of curious, because I heard that was really good. So, and there was something that says from Drudge Report that was posted, I guess, yesterday. Because I saw it earlier yesterday, like in the afternoon, evening. And it says, Black Lives Matter protesters blocked Chicago Expressway. And it says a video, and it's a 16-year-old kid holding the gun. And he's got tattoos. A 16-year-old black kid, and he's got shitloads of tattoos. I thought you have to be at least 18 to get tattoos. And he tries to look like one of those angry thugs. And it's like, dude, he's only a 16-year-old kid, and he's got a gun, and he's trying to act tough. Video protests erupt after a 16-year-old Perry Lurie fatally shot for pointing a gun at police. I mean, that's really stupid, too. I'm sorry. So, that, was pretty much what I had, because I just did, I don't do them every night. I don't want to do stories. But that bullshit tonight just really pissed me off with my friend, so to speak. So the only other thing I can mention for you folks tonight, so this is good. This is going to be really short this way. Somebody put up about Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. They actually showed it this past weekend over and over again on Chiller. They were showing Halloween 1, 2, and 3. They were all the Deborah Hill / John Carpenter films. And it says, watch Magic Pumpkin. That's when the kid has a pumpkin on his head. He watches that, and his head turns into a bunch of, insects. It says, a look back at Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. It is a damn shame that Season of the Witch had a Halloween branded slapped on it, because it is a good film. It is a standalone movie because it did not have Michael Myers. So anyway, it goes on to say, without Mickey Myers, people stayed away from the theaters while critics tore it apart, basically. But the movie, I have a friend that actually liked Halloween 3, and I have a guy that helped me make a frame for all my Friday the 13th stuff. And they both were on the same page. They said, yeah, you got to understand, this was meant to be a standalone movie. They were actually had the intentions, both Deborah Hill and John Carpenter, to go in that direction completely, where every Halloween would be a different theme. And it was like, I didn't understand it. I was too young to understand it. And now that I do, it was actually a really good concept, a good idea. It just never panned out for them. So, and it's a shame, too, because you think about it, it would have gave, something for people to look forward to every year. It would have been like a different horror movie themed during Halloween time every single year. It was like, God, that's actually a really good idea. But again, and when they finally did, I guess somebody else took over the franchise. When they figured, well, hey, you know what? This whole thing with Michael Myers is like a cash cow. There's still money to be made. Now they made, I think 10 movies. I don't know. But the problem is, it just, to me personally, Michael Myers does not carry the same appeal to me as, did Freddy Krueger or definitely Jason Voorhees. There was just something about it, I know it's basically the same thing over and over again. You're telling the same story in a different way, the same theme every single time with, both the other two, Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees. But for some reason, actually Freddy Krueger, I never really was that big of a fan of. I'm not a big Wes Craven fan on some of his stuff, probably most of his stuff. I'll watch it, but I'm not a big Wes Craven fan. Now, what do you call it? Sean Cunningham and, his twist, which wasn't just him, but his twist on, Friday the 13th. The first one I really did not think was that great. I thought it was pretty cool. It was definitely different. And I remember, God rest her soul in peace, my one aunt, my mom's one sister that she really just was really close to, and still takes it hard. My mom does. My mom's one sister, she went and seen Friday the 13th in the movie theaters years ago when it first came out. And she said, oh, yeah, the part that really just got to everyone in the audience was the way the movie ended, because you did not see that coming, where, everybody knows by now that it was the person who was doing all the murders was the mother of Jason Voorhees. She said that just like when the people saw that coming, and then of course when Jason was jumped out of the water, that just shocked everyone. I mean, it made everybody back in the day. That was back in the late 70s. She said everybody was just jumping. Like, they didn't see that coming. You did not suspect that, okay, the mother was the one brutally killing all these people. The people who actually made the film had no clue about that. Because I remember I watched all these extras. They had no clue how they were going to end the movie, like the original one. And then the movie was so successful because of that. Like, they did this, they literally, the film was kind of like, the direction was not only like, it was done linearly, like it was done in a straight line. Like, they had no clue. They knew they had an idea for a film, but they didn't know how they were going to end the film. They actually said that. They said, yeah, we don't know how we're going to end this. Something on that line. Like, they didn't know who was the killer. They didn't know that. So that's why, if you notice, they never, ever show the killer, because they led you to believe, because that's the direction they originally were to go, and then they said, we're just going to add a twist. Because when they had it, they didn't show the killer. And when they did, it generally looked like the person who was standing in doing the murders of these people looked like a man. Probably because they had no clue up until the last couple days of shooting, like, okay, we're going to make the mother the killer. They actually said that. So they didn't think they were going to go in that direction, because originally that wasn't their whole intent. They know they're going to make a movie about a serial killer. They had no clue who the serial killer was going to be. So they obviously got a guy to stand in to do, to be the person that you'd only see a shadow of, brutally killing all these people. But then they said, you know what? Let's make it the mother. I remember seeing this, that it was not near the end of production. That's when they actually called that act. Well, yeah, that's when they called, because you really only see the mother at the very end of the movie. And she's like in the very last scene. Well, there's a reason for that, because they never even hired her at that point. They didn't have any idea. And they said, okay, well, you know what? We're going to make the mother, since we haven't came up with a plan how to end this film, we're going to make the mother the killer. And God, that worked so well. And then, obviously, they added the twist where she apparently, which that's the original idea, she, the girl who survived the original movie, which I saw the actress in person, she imagined that Jason Voorhees was still alive. But that was all just a dream. It was a fantasy dream. And it was supposed to end there, because she even says at the end, she says, what happened to the boy? And they said, what boy? There was no boy. And, and then when they came to the second film, they was like, okay, well, we had this idea that the kid never really died, even though he technically did. And what they were trying to insinuate with the original film, that he was just a spirit. The spirit actually came back. That's what she felt the presence of. It wasn't really the boy himself. It was his spirit that came back. He was dead. He was at the bottom, or probably buried, he drowned. But when they said, okay, well, there was a span, let's make it that now he's a grown man. I remember how they said we're going to do that. We did kind of tease the fact that the boy, possibly didn't die, even though it was just, a spirit, or, like I said, or she could have been hallucinating. But they ran with that, because they said, okay, we killed the mother off. We chopped off her head. They were actually originally going to bring her back, too. Because if you notice, I asked about that. They never really gave a straight answer, but I finally seen that proved me right, that they said they made a mold of that woman's head, because her head was cut off. She was decapitated, that they wanted to bring the mother back. that since Jason could come back from the dead, which they did, why can't the mother? So they had that concept. If you looked at it, you could tell that there was an actor or an actress, not necessarily the woman, the actress who originally played the part, because I don't think they could get her back, so they got somebody else. Basically, where the head, like a mold of the head over the top of them. But you could definitely tell it was a real person that was sitting there that was supposed to be just a head. It was like a person underneath the table or whatever you want to call it, or the pedestal that Jason Voorhees had of the mother's head. So their whole intention was she was supposed to come back. And she was going to continue where, she left off. But they never went with that. And I remember, I think I saw one interview where the actress said, yeah, I was supposed to actually, they weren't going to do it until even a couple films later since they didn't do it with that one. But the idea was there that they were going to bring her back from the dead, and it would be the mother and the son doing the murders and stuff like that. But they never went through with it. They never put her in any of the films after just that initial making a mold of her head and stuff like that. So I went off on a little bit of a spree from where I was complaining. So I don't know how that's gonna deal. If it's gonna deal, I mean, is that gonna pan out or not? I don't know. So, but I just wanted to, I just needed to vent. As my show, what I decided to make as a title, there is no consistency. There is no format for my show. My show is just whatever I want to talk about. Or basically express about myself, what I need to find necessary to talk about. There is no direction on my show. If you haven't learned that yet, then you got a lot to learn. So, and again, it is Thursday. I may do a show because then, tomorrow's Friday night, which means, today will be, it'll be going the Friday morning, I should say. So I may, honestly, I said this in the past, but I really need to stick to my guns. I can't do shows all the time because these shows, it's 4:00 in the morning for me right now. It's very difficult because I basically have no time to do anything besides get up for work and go right to work. That's what I did today. And that's no way I can live. Just to let you know. And I don't have enough listener base to, give me the incentive to do shows on a regular basis. If I did, then I would definitely I'm very, okay, I better, continue and keep up with it. So I've done in the past when I did have a little bit of a listener base of, more than, maybe 30 or 40 people. Then I okay, well, I guess I better continue on. Hey, folks, I'm going to cut it off, but one other thing that was funny, I've been trying to stick with it. I don't know why. It's like I said, a train wreck of a show, but I am continuing to watch that because it's free, too. It literally is. If you have you're subscriber to cable, it's free to watch. You just got to sit through commercials. So what I'm talking about is I watched the show again of Idiot Sitter, and it actually got a little bit better. Maybe it's just so bad that the show started out being so bad that it can't go any lower. So and I thought it was more episodes, but it was actually only 10 episodes, I think, and I literally watched all 10 of them, and it was weird because I watched them online at work during my break. It's only 22 minutes, so that's like a break. I sit down at a desk, I eat at my desk, and, I take my break, so I have plenty of time to it not going into my work time. Work won't have a problem with it because I'm not doing anything that's, prohibited at my job. So, one break I watched one episode, and then I watched another one. But the only thing is they weren't showing them online the same way you can get them on the Apple TV, which meant that they weren't in the proper order, the order they were broadcasted. And so here, I didn't realize that because I watched the very last episode tonight. I watched two, one during my first break, and again, one on my second break. And, I got to mention that too. And for some reason, it didn't shut down as consistently as it has in the past. And there's a reason I brought that up, and I'll mention that in a second because I do want to end the show. So I was able to watch them, and they played very, pretty consistent. They looked really good. The one blonde-haired lady in this show called Idiot Sitter, the one who's supposed to be a tutor for some grown woman who can't get her GED on the show, she's actually, in a weird way, she's not, really hot, but she's got something about her that's, kind of sexy. She's got a really weird face. And she, I have a friend who's obsessed about looks on his appearance, actually other people's appearance as well. But she's got this really unique nose. It's got a hook on the end, and it just it's kind of almost distracting. She's got a really weird nose, which makes the rest of her face look pretty weird. But other than that, she's definitely not bad looking. She's actually kind of in a weird, strange sense of the word, she's kind of hot looking. The other girl, who plays on the show, this other woman, she's not bad looking, but she's a little on the chunky side. If she would, I hate to be one of these shallow-minded people, but seriously, if she would lose a few pounds, she'd probably be really hot. And it's not the funniest show. It's probably, it's not funny at all. But it has its moments on this show that it is, gets you off guard, and you find yourself laughing because it's so ridiculously stupid. So I caught myself doing that, and some of the stuff is just, it is so inappropriate, in some sense of the word, and just so stupid that it is funny. Which, it's my least favorite show on Comedy Central because there are some other ones in the past I would recommend to other people that actually were really, really good. It's funny, actually, the one woman, I really just have a love Jones for her. She was on this show called Another Period in Time or something. She's actually on this new show. I think it's coming on Showtime or something. I don't know. With Andrew Dice Clay, and it was I kept on seeing these commercials. They show these commercials on for the breaks on Comedy Central because they must own one of these networks. Comedy Central does, or the other way around. But it's either Showtime or one of these other ones. So they're showing us Andrew Dice Clay making a comeback. Well, this guy's lost a lot of his hair, and he's definitely aged a bit. He looks the same, but he looks like he's trying to be the Andrew Dice Clay from 30 years ago, and the guy's up there in age now, so it's kind of bad in that way. But this one woman who played on Another Period in Time, she actually acted in this other show too with this the woman who she acted with, this blonde hair lady, a different blonde, because I can't remember these people's names. It was called Garfunkel and something else. This brunette woman. She works with this lady normally, but now she's, by the way, she's in Andrew Dice Clay playing she's playing his wife, or she's playing the wife of Andrew Dice Clay or girlfriend or something like that. It was because I kept on seeing these commercials. It was wow, she looks not bad looking, but she looks familiar. It was oh my God, it's this comedian that were on these two shows I was watching, this brunette lady. And she's actually not bad looking at all. And she's I think she's in her late 30s, early 40s, something like that, which is kind of funny because she's not bad looking at all. But now she's playing again, a lover or something of Andrew Dice Clay. And it's wow. It's pretty sad because she's actually really funny too. I do like her. She's so inappropriate, but she's funny. So anyway, this show I've been trying to get through. It's not it's not real good comedy. It's actually really horrible comedy. But for some reason, it just keeps on me coming, watching. Maybe because there's not much on. Honestly, it's better than that show that America did called, what was it called? Superstore. That show, I think, already got canceled because it was so fucking bad. And that is really bad. Now, this one called Idiot Sitter is better than that. And there was another show, I think Comedy Central or somebody else put on, with these immature, childish school teachers trying to teach kids how to get educated, little kids like in kindergarten. Like they're trying to teach these kids right from wrong when they themselves don't even know how to, what the difference is themselves. And I know I wanted to watch that show, but I didn't break down. I was going to wait and see if Netflix would pick that one up. I can't remember the name of it. So, but, it was between that on comedies, because I don't like, I'm not all about horror. I like comedy, too. I like comedy a lot. So, Idiot Sitter was on that list. This other one, and then the show with Americana, with America, with, it was called Superstore, which got canned, like I said already. But these were like shows that was like, okay, they're pretty bad, but the one that actually made it all the way through, because the seasons are short, was Idiot Sitter, which was kind of a shock. It was like, okay, this is what I would think least would make it, because it just looked, it's extremely, extremely bad. But it did get kind of progressively better in the strange sense. It did get better again, maybe. When you get that jolt of watching the first show, and it's like, God, this show really is horrible. I mean, it's degrading to watch it. Like, I told this one guy at work, it's like you're going to lose brain cell, or your IQ is going to drop like 10 percentage points by just watching this show because it's so bad, called Idiot Sitter. So maybe that's part of it. Like, if you can get it like through the first one, as you progressively watch the show, your IQ is going to just continue to drop. So it's going to get to the point that you're going to think the show is like the best thing since sliced bread. I don't know. But it did get kind of funny. But anyway, I was like watching it at work during my breaks. And honestly, I watched the very last episode not realizing, because it kind of didn't make any sense. And they left it with a cliffhanger. They were hoping, I guess, that it would be picked up for a second season. Who knows? Because it did improve enough. They might have even actually pulled it off that they might be able to do another season. I mean, the only thing I can give credit for I'm trying to think, for Comedy Central is they do come up with new ideas for new shows. They're not the greatest ideas. I would think they're actually the worst ideas. But either way, they are original ideas. So you got to give people credit in that. I mean, I just have no faith in these shows because they are extremely, really bad. So, and the one blonde-haired lady on this show called Idiot Sitter, who plays the teacher. Again, she's kind of remotely sexy looking in a weird way, so they kind of incorporate it into one of the episodes where they try to make her look like really hot. And they did a pretty good job. They did that in one or two episodes. So, and they played a card that always works with me, where they always make her like she's just like so desperate for a boyfriend. She'll settle for even, like literally, because they did that in one episode. This one guy tried to play like a biker trailer trash type guy, and she got hooked up from her mother on a blind date with him. And she wanted to make sure that it would work. She was just so desperate for a boyfriend. So, but, that whole desperate, trying to make herself look sexy and stuff like that, trust me, that it doesn't take too much to convince me that that's going to work. So, I mean, I'm like a hypocrite in a certain sense of the word with that, but at least I'll admit to it that, a show could be literally, because this show is definitely not that much better, a pile of burning dog shit. But once you incorporate a remotely decent-looking woman and you make her look really hot, no matter how bad the show is, I'll definitely watch it all the way through just for the fact that I'm, a desperate, horny guy. So, wallpaper almost at this point would be appealing to me. But, I mean, she's not that bad looking. But, yeah, the one episode she actually wore... she was supposed to be impressing an ex-boyfriend, this character. And it's funny, but she wears like a red dress, a really sexy red dress. It's like skin tight around her ass. And it shows her cleavage, which I didn't even know she had any, this actress. And it was like, yeah, okay, this will do it for me. I'll stand in there for the long haul. That's all I needed to see. I'm like an easy sell. And, that always works too, by the way. Let me make sure. Hold on one sec, because I must shut down my computer. Hold on. Let me just go back over here as I talk. Ooh, that's kind of weird. But, yeah, that old saying that sex sells. I mean, look at the biggest thing that makes the most money today is, sex in movies in the porn industry. I mean, it's like a sure shot. I mean, look at all these porn movies. None of those movies, people watch them because, they act like they think that they are good actors, but they try to, like, have porn awards, like, for best actor, best actress. It's like, yeah, it's the best. No offense. It's, best fuck, best breast implants, best ass, best sexual position. Who are you kidding on that? Who are you fooling? Seriously. These aren't like, but, it doesn't matter how bad the script is because, it's like what I said even about, like these horror movies. Like, people are into the two big things, sex and violence. And the more hard it is, sex or violence, the more it basically pulls people toward it, like, moths to a flame. So the bottom line is, it doesn't matter if the script is good. It just matters how good, it doesn't matter how good the material is. It just matters how you present it in incorporating sex and violence. That's the only thing people care about, trust me. And if I'm wrong about that, why are they like the things that gross the most amount of money? And I could prove that. Porn makes more than more than probably trillions of dollars, I would guess. And for one thing, look what movies make gross initially the most amount of money. Really violent movies. Not necessarily horror movies, but just violence in general. Gross the most amount of money. When's the last time you ever saw a wimpy... Well, I'd take that back because I could be wrong with that because you got like Twilight and the Crying Game, or not Crying Game, the Hunger Games. Those make a lot of money. But in general, what movies make the most money? Movies that consist of sex and violence. Deadpool proved that because that was like extremely violent. It had a rated R rating. It's a comic book movie, but it was extremely violent. And it was like one of the top gross movies in the past decade, up until when Batman versus Superman came out, which barely knocked it off its peg. But that was beyond violent. So there you go with the violence. What makes a lot of money on the other end? Porn, sex. Why do horror movies do so well? Very well. Sex, violence. So, hey, do I need to go on? No, not necessarily, so I won't. So, everyone, this is Walter from iWalter, and I am signing off. I'm not guaranteed to come back right away, but I am signing off for now. So, thank you very much. If you enjoy what I'm talking about, continue to listen, and please try to get other people also, to kind of tune in, because I can definitely use more listeners, which I would appreciate. I had like 10 listeners, but I hate to tell you, all 10 of them I think were pretty much me. So, because like I'll listen on the Spreaker app on my phone, and if I pause it and I start it up again, that's another hit that says somebody else listened. It's me. Listen to myself. The only way I can tell that other people are listening, by the way, because I do got one listener from Australia and somewhere else. I can't remember, so I apologize. I think it's like, I can look. But the only way I can tell is I can just look at my stats globally, figure out what's going on. Which I probably will try to do, since I've already mentioned it. The geological locations, Australia is 1% and 0.5% in Argentina, which was like at 1.5. So it basically is one listener and somebody who accidentally stumbled in. Otherwise, other areas I got is Coatesville, Philadelphia, Sellersville, Woodbridge, New Jersey, Allentown, PA, Cunchy, which is right down. That could be me. And Bear, Delaware, have no clue, in Norristown, PA, could be me. And even I don't even listen to myself because that Norristown, PA was 0.7, so that could be me. So anyway, folks, again, thank you for listening. If you like what I say, if you don't get too offended by me being, completely honest with what I think, just try to get other people to listen to it. I appreciate that. Thanks a lot. This is Walter and Durante signing off for now. Don't know when I'll be back. Do got my voice this time, I think. I haven't ruined it yet. Thanks again. iWalter signing off for now.